It's 1 o'clock and we welcome you to the Fox Local Stream. Thanks so much for hopping on. I'm Marla Tellez. The big story that we're covering here in Southern California is that massive water main break. It has turned parts of West Hollywood into rivers. The water has stopped flowing, but a giant sinkhole now cuts right through the very busy Sunset Boulevard. And crews say that the broken pipe dates back to 1916. Fox Local's Nick Garcia, he's live for us on the ground there in West Hollywood with the update for us this afternoon. Nick?
Right. Hi, Marla. Still a long way to clean up here. You can see the crews starting to do some work. Just in the last few minutes, we saw these excavators start moving around here. That's the shot from the ground. I do hear Skyfox overhead. Let's see if we can take that image live for you, giving you a bird's eye view over, again, this is Sunset Boulevard at Holloway Drive, where Holloway and Palm Avenue meet. We are standing just south of Sunset, and you can see just where that sinkhole is. Again, all of these roads remain closed and for an indefinite amount of time. There's no telling how long it's going to take. They still have to get in there, start digging some of that out, and get an idea on what can be done to repair it. So all of this is a big question mark right now as to how long it's going to take. What we know right now is that several streets in this area are closed, as well as a lot of businesses around here are closed as well. Nobody really has a way to get to those. We'll take you to some video from earlier. Again, this is from Skyfox earlier. You can just see from the live image we were just showing you to a little while ago what the difference looks like. Doesn't look like a whole lot of different, and that's because they're just finally able to get their hands in there and get these machines in here to get an idea of what could have caused this. Again, all we know right now is that this was aging infrastructure, according to LADWP and Mayor Bass, talking about this was a 36-inch main, the pipe, and it was installed in 1916. Okay, that's 110 years ago. It was covered in concrete in 1957. That's close to 70 years ago. So very, very old pipe that just eventually gave way. Let's take a listen to what the officials had to say earlier today.
This is one of the challenges when our infrastructure is so old. It's my understanding that these pipes are over 100 years old.
Everybody should have water. Once again, the pipe that's feeding the customers is the 8-inch water main. That 8-inch water main has remained in service this entire time, pressurized and full of water, so the customer should have no concerns about the quality or the quantity of the water being provided.
Luckily, at this time, we don't have services that are out, so everybody does have clean water that's safe to drink. It's mainly the impact to the transit.
Yeah. I'm back out here live. Gino behind the camera is just giving you a closer look at the work being done here. But like you heard there, one customer is being impacted, meaning that they don't have water. Latest update from DWP coming within the last hour is that customer, that could be a business, that could be an apartment building affecting many people. We don't know the specifics on that, but they still do not have water. They're still working on getting them water. But for the most part, they say that water was barely interrupted in this area. But still, that debris, the water goes all the way down to Santa Monica Boulevard here. So it's going to be a long, long cleanup here. And like I said, Marla, there's really no telling yet just how long this will take. Is it going to take, the rest of the day? Will it be days? Will it be weeks? Longer?
Yeah, all great questions that we really do need the answers to. I have talked to the mayor of West Hollywood. He's going to be hopping on the stream here in just a bit. What questions do you want me to ask him, Nick?
Well, Marla, one question I'm really trying to get an answer to, and I know DWP is focused on working on resolving all of this, but my question is how many water mains and pipes that is servicing the city on a daily basis are over a century old or close to a century? I'm not sure how many in West Hollywood may specifically be as old as this one here. But when we think about a growing city, a growing population, think of the population from 1916 to now and just how much this area has grown in not only businesses, but in residents. We've got to wonder how much of our infrastructure is over a century old.
Yeah, and really on the verge of bursting at any given moment. It's a scary thought, really. And at this point, Nick, we don't know the damage toll, right? The toll on
we don't know
vehicles,
the full extent.
on
You're
local
right.
businesses, on apartments that may have been flooded, et cetera, at least on the ground unit anyway.
Absolutely. From the images that we've been seeing all morning, from our team on Good Day LA on through the rest of the day from Skyfox and on the ground, it looks like some of those garages, I don't know how far below the ground they go, but were full of cars, that people park there at the buildings that they live at. And so those could potentially all be completely damaged if they're completely submerged in water. So we don't know the extent of that. And just here, we don't know the extent of the damage underground here either. And they're really just getting an eye on how bad that is and what they can do to fix it. I mean, I would imagine they're going to have to completely replace that very, very old pipe, and I know that was part of their plan, is to replace a lot of the aging pipes across LADWP's jurisdiction. But like you said, we really don't know just how much damage has been done.
I know that we have a call each day when we talk with our reporters editorially of what we're going to cover, and we were on that call this morning. Mm-hmm. And Nick, you brought up the aging infrastructure. You then reminded me of back in 2014 along Sunset Boulevard, a little further west near UCLA, there was a similar situation. Again, this is in 2014, so 12 years ago. I remember it well. It was big breaking news in the morning where an old pipe underneath Sunset Boulevard burst and it flooded parking garages. 1,000 cars or so were stuck in these parking garages. We were dealing with this back then, and similar sentiment of, we have an aging infrastructure. What do we do about it? And how do we go about our daily lives and hope that this doesn't happen?
Yeah, an aging infrastructure, and that has been the case for decades. You pointed out that example. Gino's now giving you a look farther west. Not that you could see UCLA from here, but we are shooting down West Sunset there, where we know that happened, again, like you said, 12 years ago. So that was an issue then. It continues to be an issue now. And the question remains, though, what is going to be done to fix this? It's going to be a big overhaul of the system to replace. Again, we don't have a number or an idea of just how many pipes are that old or close to that old even. But what does it take to fix all of that?
And before I let you go, is your focus more on the infrastructure and LADWP and the cleanup right now? Are you talking to businesses? Have you spoken to anyone there?
We just got on the ground a little while ago, so I haven't had a chance to speak with any of the businesses. I'm going to have Gino point over that way, though. That one is closed today. I believe that is either an employee or the owner standing there with the baseball cap on his phone. So I will work on talking with him as well.
Okay.
But our main focus here, I know we've got team coverage, is to try to figure out just how old our pipes, and water mains in the area are. But certainly a point of interest is to speak with these businesses who, have been here for years. I'm not sure how long, but I know that a lot of them have been here for quite a while.
Absolutely. And this is a place that tourists go to, so I'm sure some tourists are in town. Maybe
Absolutely.
you'll talk to them as well. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Nick. And let's go upstairs. You mentioned we have team coverage. We have Stu Mundell up in Skyfox with these aerial pictures. And Stu, you were over this right when this happened this morning.
We got into work and we went right to work. That is true, Marla. 5 o'clock in the morning, we were up and over this. And you know what? The site picture has changed. But you know what? Skyfox never changes. We're going to give you a grand tour of everything that's going on out here. Now, that is the sinkhole. That is the spot where Nick is at right now. And this is where they're starting to do the work to repair that pipe. But look at all that roadway they've got to cut up to get to it, and all that damage, and still so much water in that sinkhole itself. I would venture to say it is still being filled by some of the pipes that are leading to this. Just because the water stopped or the pressure stopped, gravity is still working. It always does, ask Skyfox. And you can see that they are definitely pumping. And early in the morning, they basically had these little sump pumps that anybody could get. Now check out these machines they got going on, and that water level still not dropping. You're talking about businesses. I got to give a shout out to Supreme. They did have a big drop today. That means this is like one of the times when they have these huge sales where the parking lot is filled and there's lines around the corner. Not today. That's one of the ones that are definitely been affected by this water main break. This building that I'm showing you right there, maybe we'll get a quick glimpse, but I can tell you the lobby definitely full of mud, and all that mud and all that water was ripping down. Made a little turn right here onto Holloway, but the big turn was as it made its way down Pine. Now, we've been talking about it all morning long. That's going to be Dialogue Cafe. You know, it's one of those things. It's like you just never know. The water was ripping by here early in the morning, but now they're saying that inside, not so much damage, but on the sidewalk and the infrastructure on Pine, oh my goodness. Now we weren't exactly here when it collapsed, but we were looking at it moments before we did. I was noticing how the concrete was popping up, how there were these access panels or access things like that you see right there, then they were missing their tops. But when we came back, the whole street had already collapsed. Look at that, exposing all this other stuff.
Wow.
I know the gas company is here also, maybe just doing checks, but there's also cable down there, fiber, the fiber cable stuff, and then all those electrical. It is going to be a long time before all of this is fixed. Let's kind of just do a little tour, as it would be, going down the street. Now, this parking garage right here was the one that we were looking at the most. That wall at one point looked like Niagara Falls. Then the water just kept filling and filling and filling till it basically was touching that top right there that you see. The fire department, they're still here also. They're going to be checking for a lot of things, and one of them is going to be structural integrity. A lot of the drainage in these parking garages was doing what it needed to do, but it just wasn't designed for thousands of gallons a minute coming through there. And then, of course, they probably got clogged up from all that dirt and et cetera that was in there, and that's what the extra stuff that we're seeing while the fire department is here working to pump things out. These are some of the other crews walking around, assessing areas, finding us spots where they're going to be having to work. More sidewalk damage right there. And we also saw damage, not so bad, but on Hancock. That's the street on the other side. And you can see they're pumping out garages here as well. Now, this Hancock kind of got, you know, we didn't talk too much about it, but they have serious damage here as well. One of the apartment buildings, let me see if I can find it because we are moving along slowly. But yeah, this is the one. Basically goes from Palm to Hancock. And if I push in real quick, it might not look like much, but look at all that dirt and everything between these buildings. That's all from the water.
Wow.
And the water filled that entire garage up down there, and all the mud that is still in there. You can see this is the other side on Hancock where you have that mud and dirt that's still coming out from that parking garage. I'm going to kind of skip some of them because it's pretty much going to start getting redundant. Every building down there, as we make our way down, has some story to tell. Some of these apartments, those first floor apartments, really have been flooded. I saw stuff on social media, people with their phones showing them walking through water in their apartments. One of these apartments right in here, I think we'll probably come back to it in a moment or two. That one, the drainage, not so good, still filled with water. Now, all that water and debris making its way down to Santa Monica Boulevard, where all that silt and the dirt just kind of stopped. Trucks are out here now, and this is what we were wondering about. How are they going to clean this up? They're going to have to stop traffic. Well, they decided not to stop traffic completely. Thank you, City of West Hollywood. And so they're basically cleaning, and everybody's kind of got to work around it. That bus depot, it looks like a beach. Take a look at this. And that was what I meant to say. Look at that. It is still completely covered with dirt. They're going to have to do a lot of cleaning out here as well. A lot of the buses have been removed. Again, not sure if these buses were damaged. We did see a couple of them drive out of the yard this morning, but they also had drainage issues. So there is so much going on out here, and this is going to be a cleanup for such a long time. The human toll, nobody passed away, but the story's probably going to be passed along for a long time. The cars, I cannot even imagine what that's going to start looking like, because all those underground parking, I could venture to say almost every vehicle in there is probably going to be an insurance somebody's talking to the insurance company for sure. Marla?
Wow, that was quite the overview, Stu. Thank you so much. And as mentioned, I have the mayor of West Hollywood. He'll be hopping on the stream here coming up in about 15 minutes at 1:30. He's scheduled to join. So some questions coming his way. And we know that there have been delays on public transportation. As you pointed out, you showed us the bus yard there with Metro. Metro has messages out, statements out on its social media today. We're talking about this very thing and which lines will have delays or had delays because of it, and all those street closures, of course, as the cleanup continues here in West Hollywood. All right, Stu, appreciate you, and I know you'll be back with us in just a bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marla. Talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good. And we'll be right back here on the Fox Local Stream in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Fox Local Stream. I'm Marla Tellez. Let's talk about an increase in cancer diagnoses. This is not good, but there could be some other news that make it a little less painful to hear. New research indicates the rate of cancer diagnoses is actually going up, but this statistic might not be as alarming as it may seem. Joining me now to explain is Dr. Yuman Fong. He is a surgical oncologist, and he serves as the chair of the Department of Surgery at City of Hope. Dr. Fong, thank you for the great work that you do.
Oh, thank you very much, Marla, for having me on today.
Well, it sounds terrible when we have to report that cancer diagnoses are increasing, but the silver lining is death rates are falling.
It really is. There's no doubt that there is an increase in cancer. Every year, for every 100,000 people in America, 400 of them will get cancer. 25 years ago, that was 200. And 2.1 million people this year in America will get cancer. But most turn out to survive it. And I want to say that again. Most cancer patients will survive their cancer. And that's the good news.
That is great news. And that there is a significant, the death rate has fallen pretty significantly, right? So from 201 per 100,000 people, this was since 1999 or in 1999 to 142 per 100,000 people in 2023. So that's significant.
Yeah, let me just tell you what that really means in terms of total numbers.
Okay.
About 500,000 people will die every year, this year, from cancer in America. And that's about the same as 25 years ago. So even though the incidence has doubled, the same number are dying. And that's because our treatment of cancer now has gotten really good.
Well, and then that begs the question, is the increase in diagnoses because we've gotten better at detecting cancer?
It's more than that. There are actually more cancers that are being formed, and that's because if they're not treated, they still go on to end stage and patients die from it. And but we are now curing almost every patient with stage 1 and 2 disease. And even at stage 3 and 4, when the cancer is metastasized, we now cure many of the patients. So, for example, colon cancer goes to the liver a lot, and that's mostly what I treat as a liver surgeon. When I started in this field in 1980, almost everyone died from that, metastatic cancer to the liver. Now we cure 40% of the patients.
Oh, my goodness. That's a big number and a big difference. I was just going to ask you your specialty and what you're seeing in the City of Hope.
Yeah, so here at the City of Hope, we see every cancer. We are a cancer center, and we only treat mainly cancers. But what I see is just liver cancers, and my entire 40-year career, that's what I've been treating. But that's changed so much over this entire period that, again, most of the people now we have solutions for.
And because your specialty is liver cancer, are you seeing more diagnoses of liver cancer? And if so,
we are.
Why?
We are, and partly it's because the population has got the overweight population here in America has increased, and when that happens, we get something called fatty liver. And when fat infiltrates the liver and causes inflammation, it causes cancer. So unlike other parts of the world where hepatitis B and C are the #1 causes of liver cancer, in America, it's actually fatty liver. And that's why when somebody goes, what is the most important thing I can do for liver cancer? I go, it's to make sure that we stop hepatitis B and C from spreading. And then it is to make sure that we do everything to avoid being overweight.
It's a great message. Let me ask you this. How do you counsel patients who are more on the frustrated end of things, that they do it all right, they exercise, they eat a healthy diet, yet they're diagnosed with a cancer?
Oh, that's usually what you hear, because one day they're top of the world, they're exercising, they're feeling great, and the next day they have a diagnosis of cancer. And so the most important first thing to do is reassure them, and reassure them that we have treatment. Getting to a treatment plan when the world is spinning out of control, really important, because then suddenly control comes back. The second thing is really trying to make sure we understand why they got the cancer. And that's because many times there's either a genetic reason or a viral reason or some other reason. And if we figure that out, we may be able to prevent it in their children, in their siblings. And then lastly, it is to reassure them that even with cancer, it is highly likely that we'll get them through it, get them recovered, and get them onto the rest of their lives.
How many cancers are there?
There are almost every organ has 3 or 4 cancers. And so when you think about all the organs in our body, that's a huge number. But the common cancers, it's really 4. It's the prostate, it's breast, it's colon, it's lung. And those are the most common cancers. And that's why we screen for those cancers, because when diseases are common, we need to go find them early. We need to go treat it, because those are the ways that we can really impact upon human health care. So I say to the young people that I lecture to in schools and in industry, please do the breast exam. Get your mammograms when you turn 40. Get your colonoscopy. And if you have a family member who smokes or have a history of lung cancer, or if you're just worried, get your lung cancer screening, and then get your pap smears. These screening tests have proven to help us catch cancers early, cure people of cancers.
What about the mixed messaging, or maybe mixed messaging isn't the right phrase, but this idea that the age recommendation for a colonoscopy went from, I believe, 50 to 45, and so people wonder why that happens, and when should I really get it, and so on and so forth.
No, Marla, you're pointing out a really, really important thing. It used to be everybody thought you could only get cancer if you're old, and that's because most of the cancers happen when we're old. But now it's very, very clear that every year that goes by, 1 to 2% more of people that are young get cancer. And colon cancer now clusters in 2 clusters, age 65 and older, and age 35 and older. And therefore, again, when somebody gets a symptom, and if somebody's losing weight, if you're having blood in the stools, if you're having indigestion that just won't go away, or a cough that doesn't go away, please, please, please see your doctors. And that's because many times they just find the reason it's not cancer, and they cure you of your symptom and you're better. But if it is cancer, there is a good chance we'll find it early enough to take care of it and make you better and potentially cure you.
Does it concern you that obesity is such an issue in this country? And do you think that that is a direct link to why younger people are being diagnosed with a variety of cancers?
There's no doubt that cancer is related to obesity, just like many other diseases. And the reason we know it's related is because there is a phenomenon called food deserts, where there's no fresh food, where almost everything is processed and high calorie, where the population's much higher in weight, and cancers cluster there. And when we see fatty livers, we don't not only see liver cancer that are more common. In those individuals, we know colon cancer is more common. And so, again, all that we can do to keep in shape, make sure we eat right, very important for all parts of health, but particularly cancer and heart disease.
Is that your single most important nugget of advice that you provide a patient to stay cancer-free?
Yes, control the weight, exercise, eat right. And remember when we were in school and we would exercise every day in high school and in junior high school? Well, I think we should continue doing that in our entire lives. And so again, staying healthy, it could be fun too.
That's true. It can be. I like to move the body, so I'm in that category. Dr. Yuman Fong with City of Hope, thank you so much for being with me here on the Fox Local Stream.
Oh, thank you very much, Marla, for having me on today.
Keeping us healthy, at least trying to anyway. Okay, we'll be back on the stream in just 2 minutes. We'll see you then. All right, coming up at 1:30 now, I'm Marla Tellez. Thanks so much for being with me on the Fox Local Stream. Happening today, the Odyssey opens in theaters in Los Angeles and other parts in the country. There's a ton of people lining up for the first screening at the TCL Chinese Theater in Hollywood. And Stu, he's there in Skyfox with our aerial shot. What's going on down below, Stu?
We actually got some of the cast. Some of the actual cast from the Odyssey showed up for the opening day. No, these are just I love fandom stuff. Come on. These guys dressed up and they're getting the interviews, and it is exactly where you said it as. It's TCL, Man's Chinese. The line is huge. When was the last time we saw a movie opening that isn't a sequel or something where you've got this kind of turnout?
Good point.
I am speechless. You know, I heard Amanda talking about this this morning. And the only thing I got to say, and I'm sure she's going to comment on it, I should have listened more. But I got to say, she really is in love with this movie. She was talking about the cinematography, which, you know, as a camera person, yes, I'm definitely going to be interested in it. The whole thing shot in 70 millimeter, so that's IMAX. That is definitely IMAX quality. They got a bunch of IMAX posters out here as well. The line to get in this heat is stunning. I am really, really shocked. Some people are going to look and go, well, those are people on Hollywood. No, this portion right here is the line. And they've been letting these guys in for more than a minute. We've been watching as the line actually getting a little bit shorter. But I could venture to say some of these folks probably standing out here in the heat for more than an hour to see a 3-hour movie, which also is amazing. And I understand that it's 3 hours, but it's not going to feel like 3 hours. It is just, you just keep watching and watching and watching. I thought that guy was wearing a robe, like a cape. But at any rate, the turnout amazing. The movie apparently is going to be breathtaking. I can see that just in the posters and understanding how they shot it. It was the same director from Oppenheimer, so you know the director is all about the cinematography. I understand that, you know, it is going to be something that, you know, we're not going to see a sequel, but it is, look at that. I mean, it is going to be something to see.
Absolutely.
Sure.
The line speaks volumes, and then there's the demand, which is, you know, what we're talking about with the line. And this is all triggering secondary ticket postings up to $1,000 on eBay, as AMC and Fandango experience disruptions and long wait times for premium screenings of the highly anticipated movie. This is according to Forbes, some reporting from Forbes. So, yeah, big money in this, Stu. We're going to dip out of this because we want to take our streamers, our viewers, to this live launch from SpaceX Falcon 9.
T-minus 15 seconds.
T-minus 15 seconds. This is from Vandenberg Airspace Base. Let's go ahead and listen in.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go SDA. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Pressure nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds and counting, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Slick 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. We're now throttling down the engines to prepare for max Q, which is the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Power and telemetry nominal.
During ascent, and good call out there for nominal telemetry. Now, max Q occurs when the combination of speed and air pressure puts the greatest stress on the vehicle.
Vehicle supersonic.
There's that call out that the vehicle is now supersonic, going faster than the speed of sound. We should be hearing that call out for max Q in just a few moments from now.
Max Q.
And there's that call out for max Q. Now, coming up next, we'll have a few events happening in quick succession, starting with MECO, followed by stage separation, and then SES-1. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is where all 9 Merlin 1D engines shut down on the booster to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, which is where the first and second stages separate. Following this...
MVAC chill.
And good call out there for MVAC chill. Now, following that, the MVAC engine on the second stage will light, which is called out as second engine start 1, or SES-1. Now, this engine burn lasting several minutes will propel the second stage and the payload to orbit. And in addition to these major events, the fairing halves will separate about 50 seconds after SES-1. Now, as a reminder, we will not have any views of the Falcon 9 second stage or the payload at the request of our customer. Now, this series of events, again starting with MECO, is set to begin in just about 15 seconds from now.
All right, so what an incredible picture that was. We're so happy that we could bring you these live images from SpaceX. Of course, you could follow along on the SpaceX X account. They do broadcast this live. So what you've just been watching was another launch from Vandenberg Space Force Base in Santa Barbara County. If you heard a loud boom, you may live in San Luis Obispo or Ventura County, because we have heard reports from people there going, what was that? What did I just hear? Well, this is what you just heard, another successful launch from SpaceX. They are carrying another batch of satellites for the Space Development Agency's what's called their Tranche 1 transport layer. It's amazing. This is a mesh network of optically connected satellites in low Earth orbit that enable global military tactical communications and missile warning, indication, and tracking capabilities. That is what this mission is connected to. So incredible work by SpaceX and another successful launch. I'm so glad that we were able to bring that to you, weather conditions permitted. It was scheduled to happen at 1:32, and it did happen at 1:32. So thanks for watching along on the Fox Local Stream. Let's bring you back down here to Earth. Here I am in the studios in West Los Angeles, not far from that massive water main break in West Hollywood. Joining me now is the mayor of West Hollywood. Thank you so much, Mayor, for being with me. I know it's been quite the day for you. You were out there earlier in a press conference with Mayor Karen Bass. She's the mayor of Los Angeles. You're the mayor of West Hollywood. What is the update? What do we know? Is this for sure because of the aging infrastructure as to why we saw this pipe burst early this morning?
Well, LADWP is still assessing what caused it to break, but we believe that it's primarily the result of the aging infrastructure. We are continuing to work with LADWP to assess what the source of the problem was, and then also have a timeline for restoring everything and restoring the street. Right now, I can tell you the good news is that we don't have any reports of any injuries. We only have about 4 residential units that had water intrusion. We did have significant intrusion into subterranean garages and vehicles that were damaged as a result of this water main break. We also have been working very closely with the businesses around the water main break because obviously they're impacted as well.
Yeah, what is your message to the residents who are impacted and the businesses? What sort of resources is West Hollywood offering?
Well, we are providing information to people. We've been working all day with people who may need to relocate temporarily, giving information to people about what their resources are, This is a break that was the responsibility of LADWP, and they've been working closely with us. There is a process for submitting a claim to LADWP if you suffer damage to your vehicle or to your property. So we're getting that information out to members of the public, and we're continuing to work on cleanup. I do just want to give a shout out to our residents who are amazing. They were out on the street, checking on each other, checking on their neighbors. And I think that's what makes West Hollywood so special.
You mentioned temporary shelter. Is there an actual shelter that is set up for people who need a place to stay right now?
Well, we were going to open an evacuation center, but there aren't enough individuals who need that. So we're working with people who need that to get them hotel stays and discounted places to go if they need that. And some of the residents who had water intrusion have talked to us about that, and others have said that they've already cleaned up the water intrusion and they're planning on staying in their unit as it's cleaned up.
You mentioned 4 residential units impacted, and then an undisclosed number of subterranean garages also impacted. Do we have hard numbers on how many people have suffered damages, and that includes businesses, or we're still in the midst of figuring that out?
We're still in the process of figuring that out, but the significant damage appears to be to vehicles, and fortunately, as I said, not too many dwelling units themselves have been impacted by water intrusion. So we're working to assess all of the damage and to assist all of our residents.
We have a reporter on the ground, and he opened up our stream here. We got the latest from him as the work continues. He was in touch with LADWP. No word on when that sinkhole will be managed and traffic will be reopened there. The thoroughfare would be reopened. One of the questions he wanted me to ask you, and I'm not sure if this is a mayor question or an LADWP question. I'm going to ask it to you, though. How many, do we know in your city alone how many water mains there are over or at 100 years old? In other words, how widespread is this?
Well, the system is pretty old in parts of West Hollywood. I know LADWP has a process whereby they're trying to update all of the aging infrastructure. But I don't know the age of all of the pipes in West Hollywood. We're served in part by LADWP as well as the Beverly Hills Water Department. And we've had other water main breaks in the past. That's something that happens with aging infrastructure. But it's usually been more localized than this one. And unfortunately, this is at the top of a hill. And as you know, water flows down, and the water flowed down very quickly, and there was a large volume. And with a main water break, it takes some time to turn it off, because you can't just shut everything off right away, because that puts pressure on other parts of the water main. So LADWP has to go through a very time-consuming process to determine how to turn it off, where to turn it off, and the appropriate way to turn it off so that there isn't more significant damage caused.
We're looking at some of the damage left behind there in the bus yard. Metro was also impacted. Do we have an update for public transportation?
Well, we have already notified Metro that obviously Sunset continues to be closed, so they're working on rerouting the bus on Sunset. There are several bus lines that will be impacted. Holloway is also closed at Sunset Boulevard. I would ask members of the public to try to avoid this area right now. We do expect an update from LADWP at 6 p.m. We hope that they can, at that point, give us a timeline for how soon they can open a portion of the street, or hopefully the entire street. But we won't know that until about 6 this evening.
And is that LADWP 6 o'clock update, is that a news conference, or is that just a private update that you will receive?
I think they're likely to just issue a statement. There may be a press conference, but at this point, I think we just need to get the information out, and we don't need to have a whole gathering of reporters to do that.
What does the rest of your day entail?
Well, the rest of my day entails just making sure that all of our residents know their the rights and the opportunities they have to submit a claim, make sure that the process for getting everything repaired is moving smoothly, and to check on our team. We have a great team at City Hall who are out there early in the morning. The Sheriff's Department, the LA County Fire Department were great. Mayor Bass was on the scene early this morning. LADWP was out there early, and I think it's been a great collaboration of everyone working together. Our county supervisor, our state assembly member, everyone is available to do whatever needs to be done. But right now, what needs to be done is the people at LADWP, they have to continue to do their job, their assessment, and figure out a plan for repairing this.
What time did you get the call?
Well, I got a message from the sheriff early before I even woke up, but then I woke up and got a call around 6 from our city manager, and then we were all on the scene by around 7. And of course, some of our city staff were already there from earlier in the morning.
What a way to wake up. I know it's been a day. I really appreciate you hopping on. Mayor Heilman, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just want to thank everyone involved and thank our residents for their understanding, their patience, and for checking on their neighbors. We're going to get through this. We hope that we can get Sunset opened as quickly as possible, because we know it's not just West Hollywood that's impacted. That's a major thoroughfare for people throughout LA County. So our goal is to try to expedite whatever we can to get that street open.
Yeah, the famous Sunset Boulevard right there in the center of it, at the epicenter. All right, Mayor, we'll let you get back to your mayoral duties. Busy day for you, West Hollywood Mayor John Heilman. Thank you so much for being with me here on the Fox Local Stream.
Thank you for covering. Thank you.
All right, and we'll be right back in 2 minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Fox Local Stream. Coming up on, 1:48 to be very precise. I'm Marla Tellez on the Fox Local Stream. Happening right now is something that we have talked about here on the stream. It's a week-long program at UCLA. It's helping young adults learn leadership skills that will help them in their career. And I'm so happy that she's actually in studio today. She's joined on the stream before, but over Zoom. She is the queen of pitch, Dr. Forbes Riley. She's one of those mentors taking part in this LEAP program that's underway. Thanks for being here.
Well, I wouldn't miss this for the world. Thank you.
Good. And she brought her book. Let's just showcase the book right away.
Well, the cool thing about the book is for anybody who has any business ideas at all, it is literally one word per letter. So from A to Zoom, literally attitude is for A, B, belief. Guys, I've sold over $2.5 billion worth of product using the principles and secrets in the book.
Pitch Secrets A to Z, Dr. Forbes Riley. You can find it online. Thank you for, I'm gonna read this for sure. This is a message that you are conveying at LEAP. For people who do not know what LEAP is, explain.
Every year for the last 9 years, I work with Dr. Bill Dorfman. Bill, for those of you locally, he's the cosmetic dentist to the stars. Everybody from Mark Wahlberg to Anthony Hopkins, and I've met all of these people through him. 50 Cent, Amy Adams was just there, Paula Abdul. He's got all these great celebrities that he knows, and he was the dentist on Celebrity Makeover, or Extreme Makeover, years ago.
And he is also the founder of Discus Dental?
Yes. And the Zoom whitening, and he now has a great little product. I think he was on the other day doing his cake balls.
Oh my gosh.
With little caffeine things. All I know is Dr. Bill's got the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met. And he's invited me for the last consecutive 9 years to be part of this program. We take kids 17 to 25. We've got local kids, but we also have kids from Russia. 15 of them came all the way from Australia.
Wow.
We've got a couple from different parts of Africa. All over the entire world. They come together. There's about 700 kids to learn how to be in business, to learn how to make their lives better. For adults, the lesson is how to have a side hustle, but how not to say no. And all the principles that we teach are such basic business principles that everybody should learn. You don't have to go to business school to learn them, but how to talk to people, how to get on stage to speak so you can sell one to many, how to run a business. What does it mean to have an LLC and do all those little steps? I now own 2 different companies, and I got to tell you, it's not as hard as you think, but you do want to get a great mentor to understand how to do this. And on Friday, we've got I shouldn't even say celebrity, we've got people from our town here in Los Angeles who have achieved a level of status who are going to come in to mentor the kids. And everybody sits around a table and we do this all afternoon. So if a kid wants to learn how to be a top-notch lawyer, how to be a producer, how to be a dentist, they're all in that room.
We had one of the mentors on with us, maybe it was last week, promoting this Leap Week. Anna Sky is her name. And I asked, can adults attend?
Yeah.
Because this is something that we could all benefit from. It's amazing. When you talk about the celebrities who will be there tomorrow, you just mentioned that Paula Abdul's taking part. We know in the past, Mark Wahlberg has been there. You've been doing this. This is your 8th year?
Ninth year. And you know what's so beautiful about it? We're on campus at UCLA, and we've also been to USC. We've been down to Pepperdine as we moved around, but we're back at UCLA. And my husband and I met each other like several days before. This was our first date together 9 years ago.
Oh, wow. So it's really extra special.
We are staying in the dorm. And I tell you, I feel like a little college kid. I'm having a blast.
At UCLA, it's a great place to be.
But it is interesting that you say, so I teach. That's what I do every Sunday, and it's a free gift for your audience. If you go to Pitch Secrets training, I do have this kind of training for adults. Because one of the problems with adults is they either had a career or were a mom and then they stop, they want to go back to the workforce. I'm going to tell you, don't stress by getting a job. Stress about figuring out how to do a side hustle that feeds your soul, whether it's on Etsy or Instagram or TikTok Live. You know, they're calling me, I have a video right now that's just hit 21 million views on TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
And they're calling me the godmother of TikTok Shop. So I'm going to share that anybody out there who's got a good idea, a product, and you can even affiliate with products. You don't have to own them. There's a thing called UCG now, user-generated content. Everybody who's desiring to make money and move into this world, this new commerce world, they can do that if they know how.
Pitch Secrets A to Z.
Gotta tell you, you want to know how?
She makes it sound so accessible, and that's, I think, why you are so successful.
You know what? And thank you.
No, it's amazing. You've been doing this, as you said, this is your 9th year. Have you seen the impact that this program has had? I mean, it's 1 week, but this could literally change someone's life.
Oh, I know we're changing lives. Bill has something really cool called an appreciation card, and I get them every year from everybody with emails. I've had people say, thank you for letting me find myself, for getting along with my mother, for getting me out of my house because it was abusive and I didn't know I could make a change. I have a new word that I'm really focused on called permission. And I got to speak to everybody yesterday in a really intense world. Permission to love yourself, permission to leave a situation, permission to dream so big that everyone around you say you can't do it. I gave that gift to my daughter. My daughter made her first $1 million on her own at 18. Today she runs a company, she's 23 years old, that does $1 million a month.
Is that the daughter who's here right now?
Yeah, you can see her right back there. I might have to bring her.
Yeah, come on in.
McKenna, come here real quick.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
We did not know that we were planning to do that.
That is amazing.
Come here real quick, my baby girl.
Yeah.
Tell everybody real quick who you are and what you managed to do.
Yeah, can you speak closer to her?
Yeah, my name is McKenna Riley. I get to work with my incredible mother, who I'm so inspired by every single day. And I love bringing this to people around the world via the internet. We've been able to help people learn how to pitch and master their voice so that they can truly get out to the world their message. And it's beautiful.
You just did your very first TEDx talk. What was the title?
My title of my TEDx called Every Company Needs a Kid, because I believe that we see things differently, we do things differently, and it's definitely changing. We change the way the world is looking through technology right now.
Wow, you are amazing. Good work,
What
Mom.
a treat to get you to come on camera.
That's amazing. Congratulations on all of your success, McKenna. And so the proof's in the pudding.
It's been so wonderful. I raised a set of twins. Her twin brother's also in college and running a business. And I have this vibe that we can all do this. And if you believe it, you can achieve it. And so you just got to stop listening to the news a little bit, stop listening to people who tell you can't.
Right.
Because everybody told her at 18, there's no way you could be doing all of this. And she did it anyway because she had one person believe in her. So if you're having trouble finding that person, reach out to us. I've created a team of coaches.
How do people get in touch with you?
You
Probably
can go to
pretty simply.
ForbesRiley.com. Just go there, and there's access to the training we've got, access to the book, but more importantly, a community of people who don't think like everyone else. I've always been an out-of-the-box thinker, and for the first time in my life, I've just turned 66.
Wow.
And I've seen several generations come and go. I was there at the Pioneer. I helped pioneer infomercials. Then cable TV came out, and then home shopping and home shopping just died. They just literally, QVC filed bankruptcy a couple of months ago. And now because TikTok is a new thing. So one of the things I'm called the Queen of Pitch, but what if I was really called the Queen of Perseverance? Is that if you say you can do something, if you can see it, and I've always been that way, can you create it? Yes, you need a great mentor, you need some guidance. I created a thing called the Ultimate Pitch Formula, because you know what pitching is? It's getting a yes. And so if I ask here, I'll play a little game real quick.
Okay.
Really quick, if I asked you, do you want to see something cool? What do you say?
Yes.
See, how did I know she would say yes?
Yes.
Am I a mind reader?
Yes.
But
You know who you remind me of? I just listened to a podcast with him, Oz Perlman, the mentalist.
Yes.
Yes, and what you just did to me is exactly how he started.
Well, it's funny you say that because my dad was a magician, and I raised my daughter. We both can do magic tricks. Whenever there was a talent contest, we would, because we can't sing, we would do magic. And I just started teaching my students how to do a magic trick. You know why? Because I'm going to show you something magical. I'm going to make this pen disappear. And you know the pen didn't really disappear, but you're like, oh, congratulations. And so if you can make someone believe that, you can make them believe that their product or service is magical. And when somebody says yes to you, that's the beginning of a new relationship.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so glad I got to meet you in person. You have a very powerful aura, and it's amazing. So again, her book is Pitch Secrets A to Z. She is Dr. Forbes Riley. Connect with her on ForbesRiley.com, and she's here for the Leap Week at UCLA, and we are so glad she is. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're
and McKenna,
wonderful.
it was so great to meet you.
I love my LA, so happy to serve my town. I grew up here, my daughter grew up here, and now I don't live here anymore. I miss you guys.
Oh, well, come back anytime.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back here on the stream. We'll see you back here in 2 minutes.
Oh, you are so precious.
That was awesome.
I don't know anyone who would have ever invited.
You know what? I'm so sorry. We're not done. We're going to go to the big story that we're covering here locally, the West Hollywood water main break. Susan, what's the update?
What's the update?
All right, Marla, it's very difficult to hear you, I have to tell you, because we have 2 fire rigs here, and they are pumping water. And then we just brought in, this is the LADWP's rig that they brought in to basically make it more quick to get all of this water out. You see how deep the water is, and you can actually see how hard the water was when this first flooded. Now, they've been trying to pump for hours now. You see that black line there that Justin is showing you? It's kind of hard to see perhaps, but that is where the water started when the fire department got here and started the process of trying to get the water out. But I want to show you how much water is in this subterranean garage. You see that car is easy to see, and the water level was much higher. But over there, 2 cars in the corner, their trunks are up, but they have been fully submerged for most of the day. Now, we talked to a woman who said that her friends are in Hawaii on vacation and they believe that their car is in the garage somewhere. But here's some good news about what's not in the garage. The fire department had to go to all of these subterranean garages to make sure that there were no victims stuck inside. And so far, of all the operations, they have not found any victims that were stuck in the garage. Of course, take a look at this earlier video from today and you can see how dramatic the water was, to the point where it created this massive sinkhole on the upper part of Palm where we are now. So we are at Palm between Santa Monica Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard. Take a listen to a gentleman that we spoke to. He actually lives on the west side of Palm Avenue. So he was watching everything. His building was not affected, but he was quite unhappy with the fact that there seemed to be no alerts at all for people that could be in danger. This is Tehran.
Neighbors are texting each other. People are knocking on doors. It felt like a scene from some type of bedlam, a zombie apocalypse. But what I was concerned about is that we didn't get one single text from the city. We didn't get a text from West Hollywood. There was no warning signs. There was nothing. And the reason that's problematic is because whenever they want a vote, we get a text. And whenever they want some type of donation, we get a text. And whenever we get a parking ticket, we get 100 texts. But when it comes to a tragedy like this, the only thing we could rely on at the time were neighbors and friends and each other.
Okay, now I want to show you how powerful the water was when it was streaming down Palm Avenue. You see that blank spot right there. That used to have some kind of like concrete cover on it that got moved by the force of the water. And then this little house here at 920 Palm, for much of the day since we've been here, they had to pull everything out of the back house because it got flooded.
So right now you see a lot of property that has been bagged and put into the back of that car or in the front yard of this house. But this little house got the brunt of a lot of the flooding. A lot of the people that we spoke to, on the one hand, yeah, if their car was in the garage, that was never good. But most people, it seemed, lived on upper floors, so they weren't really affected too much by the water. Just the inconvenience, though. There's a lot of inconvenience. Marla, give it a shot. Let me see if I can hear you, because we're farther away from the fire trucks.
Okay, incredible pictures, obviously. Just to see the submerged vehicles, just awful, especially if you're not even home to take care of it. I just had the mayor of West Hollywood on. I wish I would have known about the frustration from residents, understandably so, that they did not get an emergency alert. You can understand why that they are frustrated. The mayor did say that the number one issue is the vehicles, the number of vehicles that were damaged.
Right, and you know, it's kind of interesting in the world of like silver linings. I met a couple as they came out of their house or their apartment, and they told me that last night they parked their car on Palm Avenue and they neglected to put the proper, certificate, a sticker or permit, what have you, and the car was towed around 1 a.m. That's their thought. 5 a.m. they come out to go walk the dog and the car was towed. But he said, you know what, in some respects, a $368 tow ticket might have been better than having a car that got water damaged, or like a lot of cars got pushed around or fell into the, into that sinkhole. So he was going to take that as a good thing.
Yeah, that's a win.
His car was towed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really, so, on any other day it would have been terrible. I mean, that's a hefty fine, but it could have been much worse, and to deal with just the headache of having to deal with insurances and everything else that these people are having to deal with today. What a headache.
Headache, exactly. And I should also point out, part of the frustration for a lot of the residents who've lived here for some time, we're at Palm and Cynthia, and there was a water break, main break about in 2014, I think, 2013, 2014, much smaller, not as dramatic as the one here. But so the people who've lived here for a while, Marla, they're like, okay, you kind of have this clue that the quote unquote aging infrastructure needs help or needs repair, and then you have this massive water main break. So they're particularly upset because they feel like there was a lot of reason to tend to this before this, where you have so much issue. And of course, they're worried about the small businesses too. Businesses are still mostly open on Santa Monica Boulevard. A lot of the traffic is being diverted down there. Sunset Boulevard, all the way up there, there's a little cafe called Dialogue Cafe. They're closed, of course, and who knows how long. Power and water, the power, I don't know how far it stretches, but a couple of doors down where I met that couple, they told me that their power was out, but they still had water. So that was enough, though, for them to go, okay, we're just going to leave the house and find something better to do rather than, it's hot and sticky, too, here in West Hollywood. So quite a day, I got to tell you. It's really remarkable. And a lot of people who just say, well, the good news is I'm on an upper floor, so I wasn't really affected. Bad news is, my friend's car is stuck in that subterranean garage, and now, who has flooding insurance? Nobody has flooding insurance, right? So who knows what happens to their cars? What is that considered, Marla? Is that considered, an act of God, and therefore it's not covered? Or, these are all questions I'm sure other people will be asking of their insurance company.
Well, and it's funny you should say that. We have an insurance expert standing by. He's going to join soon on the Zoom, and we'll be able to ask him these questions, because you bring up great questions, and that these are questions that I'm sure many people there who are dealing with this, they don't know the answer to.
Yeah. Imagine how you feel if you're on a Hawaiian vacation. Apparently they're journalists. I didn't know them, but they're on a Hawaiian vacation and they realize, wait, that's awfully close to my home. Then they asked a friend to come, and she actually FaceTimed with them so that they could see where their car was, and they weren't quite sure where it was. But, you know, other people told me stories too, Marla, about like, oh my gosh, this is happening, let me get my car. And so Rudy, we talked to this man, Rudy, and he ran down, first he moved his partner's car, and then he found a parking space for it, ran back to get the sticker, you know, the permit, and put it in the car, then ran back to get his car. He got his car out of the way. Then there was a third person that he wanted to help, and he said by then it was too late. The garage was just too flooded. And, you know, a lot of cars won't even start if it gets full of water. So it's crazy. There's a little concern, you know, this is what I'm hearing, is that there's a lot of Teslas these days, or EVs. They have lithium batteries, and so once you have a lithium battery that is underwater, then that kind of changes how you approach it or what the water is going to be like. But wow, I got to tell you, this is like,
that's a whole other issue,
almost biblical in proportion.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting that you compared it to the 2014 water main break at UCLA or near UCLA. That impacted about 1,000 vehicles. So that was just those parking structures, ultimately some of the parts of the campus, but this is impacting a much bigger area as your photographer.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think, Marla, that the water main break on Cynthia, because we're far from UCLA, we're in West Hollywood. So I think this was another one that they described as smaller, you know, so not as dramatic. But yeah, it did seem for a while that, you know, every turn, every other day, there was another water main break or another major pipe breakage. But yeah, here at Cynthia and Palm, quite a distance from that parking structure. That's just one additional example of these kinds of things that are happening, and, you know, it's just blamed on aging infrastructure. Okay, we're going to go back. I think Justin is back near more of the water being pumped out, but I'll send it back to you.
Okay,
See
very
you
good.
at 5
And
o'clock.
Justin O'Brien behind the camera there, thank you so much. We appreciate him, and we appreciate you, Susan. And we will have that insurance expert join me here on the stream in just 2 minutes. We'll see you right back here. Welcome back, everyone, to the Fox Local Stream. I'm Marla Tellez. Still talking about that water main break in West Hollywood. It's causing massive flooding, property damage, even a sinkhole to open up the street. Repairs are underway, but a lot of cleanup and cost on people's minds. Joining me now is Carl Sussman of Sussman Insurance Agency. You're based here in Los Angeles. Thank you. It looks like you're joining from your own vehicle today. Appreciate you. I think you heard the interview or the reporting by our Susan Hirosuna before, and what this falls under. She mentioned not a lot of people have flooding insurance here in Los Angeles. What does this sort of damage fall under if you have a vehicle in a subterranean garage?
Well, there's two things, right? Let's look at the vehicle and let's look at the potential property if there's water that's gone into the unit. Fortunately, damage that's caused to a vehicle that's parked, not in motion, would be covered under something called comprehensive coverage. So standard comprehensive coverage, that's the coverage you have in case the car is stolen or damaged by fire, any type of physical damage while the car is not in motion would trigger coverage for something like this. So even though there's not a specific peril that says, well, what happens if water comes flooding into my car, then you would still be able to file a claim with your insurance company for your auto coverage under the comprehensive coverage portion.
Okay, so that I think is important. Not I think, it is important for people to know, and it would provide some little sigh of relief because a lot of people do have car insurance these days. You are supposed to. It is the law. And most policies.
Details.
Yeah, details. And policies cover, by and large, all have this comprehensive coverage, right?
Well, liability insurance is what's actually required by law. But if people have a lease on their vehicle or they have any kind of a loan on the vehicle, then the banks are going to require that they do have physical damage coverage like comprehensive. So it's a safe bet that if you don't own your car outright and you're not sure what your coverage is, you've got the coverage you need for this.
Okay. What about the property damage?
The property damage is a little more complicated. It's going to depend on the specific insurance policy. I reached out to a handful of carriers to try and get them to commit one way or the other. And of course, I got the long pause that, well, it's going to depend on where the water has come in. Has it already gotten mud in it? Is it more the concentrations of dirt in the water? It gets crazy.
Oh my gosh.
At the end of the day, I know. At the end of the day, this is what needs to get done. Anyone that has damage from this, they should cast a wide net. They should file the claim with their insurance company, and they should file a claim with the city, because the city has liability exposure for this as well. Now, I think personally, because of the level of damage and because of the optics of this, I wouldn't be too concerned about carriers denying coverage for this. We're not looking at something that is so massive or catastrophic where there's going to be nitpicking when it comes to things like this. So I'm not going to bed tonight thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have so many people that are not having coverage. If you have renter's insurance, condominium owners insurance, home insurance, and you're impacted by this water damage, then the chances are very good you're not going to have a problem getting coverage from your insurance company. And the best part is, if you can imagine saying best part, you should not be concerned about filing that claim, because what the carrier is going to do is subrogate back to the city of Los Angeles, meaning the insurance carrier is going to go back to the responsible party and say, hey, look, we paid this claim because of your negligence. Pay us back. And inevitably what that's going to do is prevent you from having a rate increase, because your carrier is going to be made whole. Therefore, they're not going to have any reason to raise the rate for you going forward.
I see. I'm glad you pointed that out. So in other words, in this instance, though, depending on the city line there, this would go to the city of West Hollywood then.
Yes. I'll admit I don't know specifically where the break occurred.
Okay. It is in the city of West Hollywood, right there.
Okay. Yeah. Then I would definitely jump online, go to their website. I'm sure they already have a form you can fill out. If not, do it quickly, because everyone's going to be doing it, and it's going to be first come, first serve. So, call your insurance carrier, call your auto carrier. If you have damage to your property, that is, like I said, renters, homeowners, condominium owners, open that claim up as well. And also remember, if you had items in your vehicle, those would not be covered under your vehicle policy. Those would be covered under your property policy. So again, if maybe you had your laptop left in the car, shame on you, by the way, if you did, but if you left things like that in the car, then those things you have to claim on your property insurance, not your auto insurance policy. So again, cast a wide net for this, file those claims. And again, don't forget filing with the city as well.
Let me ask you this, and this I may just be complicating this, but the fact that this is an aging pipe, probably to blame for all of this, and that has to do with a pipe that belongs to LADWP, then would the insurance company be going after LADWP and the city of West Hollywood?
Well, they're going to cast a wide net as well. Right?
Okay.
They're going to try to find out wherever they can go to possibly get funds back that they paid out on your behalf. I mean, you've seen the videos, you've been watching them all day, and this is not, this clearly could have been avoided. And I'm sure as they start to investigate, they're going to find, how long did this occur? Could it have been mitigated faster? Could it have been shut off sooner? Could they have diverted the water? There's all sorts of things that can go into this, and there are lots of responsible parties. So again, as consumers, we just need to get our stuff handled, right? So put the claim in with your auto insurance carrier, put the claim in with your property insurance carrier if you do have damage for that, and put the claim in with the city, and just let the system work itself through. But again, I would be comfortable that you're not going to be in a situation where all of a sudden you're being told that they're not going to provide coverage for this. I would be surprised if that happened, and I'd actually love to hear about it if you do get calls on that for people that are having problems. That's not something I expect to see happening.
Okay. Well, you've been really helpful. A lot of good information there. Carl Sussman of Sussman Insurance Agency. For people who want to reach out to you, where can people find you?
Oh, I mean, they can reach out to you if they want to go through the issue that they're having, but they can reach out to me online. Just go to sussmaninsurance.com or just give us a call at the office, and I'm happy to talk and help, guide people through it if they want. It's not a problem.
Have you heard from people on this issue today?
Not yet. I have not heard anything just yet,
Okay.
but I'm sure they'll be coming. I think we're still in that shock period, right? Where what just happened? You had someone that was interviewed that made a really good point. He said, if we get a parking ticket, we get 15 text messages about it forever.
Yes.
And if we owe $3 on a copay for an insurance policy, we get 18 texts. Why there was not some type of immediate notification for something like this, I don't know. Hopefully in the postmortem, they'll go back and find that, maybe we can do better on that, because we might be able to be in a situation where if people were aware sooner, they could have been able to move their cars out of the way, for example. And certainly it sounds like, again, there haven't been any people that were injured, but wow, that could have been really bad.
Really. And it was really bad for a lot of people. So Carl Sussman, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll be right back here on the Fox Local Stream. We'll see you back here in 2 minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone. There I am to the Fox Local Stream coming up on 2:20 now. Let's give you a live look at LAX and give you some people mover news, right? So the contractor for the people mover train is suing the city of LA over ongoing disputes. We know that this has been in the works for a long time. That people mover, we've seen it moving, but that's in just the lead up to it actually debuting at LAX. And now there is this lawsuit, the contractor suing LAX. So the contractor building the long-awaited automated people mover system in LAX filing a suit against the city. The suit accuses airport officials of altering construction plans and hiding facts to blame the company for delays. The $3.3 billion project missed its goal of opening before the World Cup. So that was supposed to happen. The World Cup, of course, kicked off June 11th. So that deadline was missed. And then testing on the system continues. I've mentioned that, but there is no completion date. That date has not been set. Now, in a statement, the airport says it remains focused on working with the contractor to finish the project as soon as possible, ASAP. So litigation continues, and we'll continue to keep a monitor of that, and hopefully that people mover will be moving along sooner than later. From LAX to a live look at the White House. I think we have it. Okay. Well, we want to show you the White House because President Trump, he is expected to address the nation tonight at 6 p.m. And flags are still flying at half-mast. This is for the late Senator Lindsey Graham, who passed away Saturday, 71 years old, unexpected. So that's why you're seeing that. Those flags will fly at half-mast through Saturday. That was on order by President Trump. So as mentioned, President Trump is expected to give this address tonight at 6 p.m. We will carry that for you live here on the stream and on Fox 11. Of course, you can check us out there, and then also foxla.com/live on the Fox Local app as well. And there is concern about his remarks tonight. Many outlets are reporting that he will focus on election security. And this, of course, is 4 months before the critical midterm elections. And networks have historically carried most of his speeches, but now some networks are weighing whether or not to carry a planned primetime address. This is after pressure from Democrats, including U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's urging networks not to air the speech, arguing that President Trump is likely to repeat debunked claims about the election in 2020 being rigged. We will, of course, carry that for you, as mentioned, live. Okay, we want to get now caught up on some breaking news I'm just hearing about. Here we are. This is the Bay Area. This is in Marin County, and several small sailboats have capsized. This is in San Rafael, just north of the Golden Gate. We have reports of multiple sailboats overturned in the water. This was a youth sailing group. No word on rescues or if anyone is still in the water. Of course, this is significant given what we just saw play out near Alcatraz. It's not far from where this is, in fact. I'm from the Bay Area, so I know the water as well. So earlier in the week, of course, we had the pontoon boat. It was a memorial service. Sadly, ironically, that was underway with about 20 people on board that pontoon boat. It got overwhelmed by some of the waves out there, and ultimately capsized. It sent all those people into the waters, very cold waters up in the Bay Area, of course, and one person died. 3 people remain missing as far as I last checked. If my producer Jasmine has updated information about that search, please let me know. But by all accounts, everyone was rescued. 1 person died. 3 people did remain missing earlier this week. Now we have this, several small sailboats capsizing. We just saw that tighter shot, the choppy waters. Now we're zooming in. It looks maybe like we're seeing a rescue boat underway. Okay, so yes, so a bunch of those small little sailboats, they're retrieving them, rescuing them. I don't see any people. And the fact that this was a youth group that was out there during these summer months, I hope to be able to report that everyone is accounted for, but we haven't gotten word. Are those jet skis? This is just small boats. Okay, the ones on the closer to viewing here in the front and in the foreground looked a little deceiving to me. They almost look like jet skis. And yes, the water is certainly choppy in the San Rafael waters, the San Francisco Bay. So this is just north of Golden Gate. I mentioned that, but this literally is right when you cross over the Golden Gate. If you're heading north on 101, you literally dip into and fall into Marin County, which is where San Rafael is. It's okay. So now I'm getting word that this is in Tamales Bay, which is a little further north. And this is still in Marin County, just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. But Tamales Bay is a little further north, choppy waters here. And I'm not seeing the rescue of people. I see a lot of boats out there, but hopefully we can get some more information. Oh, I see. So multiple boats were shuttling people to the dock, I'm being told. And let me just ask live here on the stream, do we know if everyone is accounted for, or are they looking for... Okay, I'm being told that we're not exactly sure if there are people who are outstanding. I hope not. I'm trying to... On my own device here, I'm trying to get some more information and see if anything else is coming through. But just the fact that this is happening the same week of that capsized pontoon boat that kicked off the week, and that was significant breaking news up in the Bay Area, and pretty unusual. And now we have this. Just speaks to, I think, the choppiness of the waters perhaps right now. And if you're in Southern California, you think that it's, we have warmer waters here, and up in the Bay Area, they tend to be about 50 degrees, the waters there. I actually was looking that up earlier when we were covering the breaking news near Alcatraz, and the water can be 50, 55 degrees. It's cold. That is very, very cold. So hopefully everyone is okay. Let's see. And then I am getting, while I'm looking up new information for this, the Coast Guard did suspend their search for the missing 3 boaters in the bay. So that is terrible to hear. But the boat with 20 people aboard capsizing in rough waters 600 yards from Alcatraz. That was on Tuesday. Here we are 2 days later, and reports of small sailboats capsizing involving some sort of a youth group in the Marin County waters of Tamales Bay. And it looks like this may be another rescue operation boat that's making its way to the scene, if you will, and the scene being the choppy waters of Tamales Bay. Okay, we're going to keep a watch on this. As soon as we can get some more information, and we will bring that to you, and hopefully we can report that everyone is accounted for. But scary news out of the Bay Area today will continue to follow. We're going to take a quick break first. Okay, yes, I was just hearing the break music, and so let's talk about this now. Do you want to lower your car insurance rate? A new state bill could make that possible if you're willing to have your insurance company monitor your driving behavior. What do I mean by that? Assemblymember Tina McKinnor authored this bill, and she joins me now, and she represents local communities in areas like Inglewood, Hawthorne, Gardena, and Marina Del Rey. Thank you so much for being with me.
Hi, Marla. Good to be here.
Hi. Good to have you. Okay, this is Assembly Bill 311. Put this into your own words.
Yes, well, I authored AB 311 because I lost three very close friends to car accidents. One of them name is John Vigna, and then a couple, Peggy Moore and Hope Wood. They both died in car accidents. Senseless. Peggy Moore and Hope's car accident. Someone was driving down the freeway the wrong way, crashed, speeding, killed them. John Vigna got hit by a car. The person that was driving it was speeding and was distracted. And so after that, I started working with some local driver safety organizations, and that's how I learned about telematics. And I thought about it when I was a young woman, the way that we slow people down was you got tickets. You got an expensive $300 to $600 speeding ticket. Well, our police officers, we don't have enough police officers on the street. We all know that. We hear about the shortage of police officers. And so we have a big population and not enough police officers to give tickets on the freeways. And as you notice, the cars are driving even faster than they used to. And so this bill will incentivize people to slow down, to make our streets safer.
So for people who do not know what telematics is, it's technology that's installed in vehicles that allows insurance companies to transmit information such as location, speed, braking force, swerving, and more. And it allows insurance companies to use this information when setting rates for drivers who choose to allow themselves to be tracked. Did we get that right?
Well, it's speeding, hard braking, rapid acceleration, and aggressive cornering, hard turning. Now, some will maybe be added to some systems is phone distraction, time of day, and trip frequency and duration.
I was surprised to learn that California right now is the only state that does not allow insurers to use telematics in setting rates.
Yeah, 49 states use telematics. It's been around about 26 years. It's all opt-in like any other app that you use. It's opt-in. We put guardrails around this bill for privacy to make sure that this information is only shared with the insurance company, and those are the only things that they can share. We put it in the bill. There's no other technology or app that's used right now that has these guardrails.
Yeah, so what safeguards specifically does this put in place to ensure that highly sensitive personal location data is not sold or abused by insurance companies or third-party vendors?
It's right there in the bill. It says that they cannot share with any other person except for the insurance companies. And the only thing they can share with the insurance companies are those items that I mentioned before.
Are there studies that show that telematics has helped improve safety?
There are. There are other states that are using telematics, and it's showing that, about 35% of the people using telematics, their prices have decreased. And there are also about 24% of people that have increased. So they're driving it. They're not they're not good drivers, but it also allows you to correct that. So you could go in and correct that. And then in your next insurance period, your price will come down. So like we all have about a 3-month or a 6-month insurance period where we get the new insurance cards. That's your insurance period. So every insurance period, you're able to change your driving habits.
Now, I understand that the California Department of Insurance opposes this bill, stating it is not compatible with Proposition 103. How do you plan to resolve this legal conflict?
Well, they oppose the bill except for if we amend it. So if we amend the bill with their amendments, they gave me about 15 pages of amendments, and we've accepted about 80% of those amendments, but we're still working with them. So by the time I get back to Sacramento in 2 weeks, we should have a solid bill with their amendments.
Okay, so what does the status look like right now for AB 311 then?
Well, it's doing well. It's in appropriations. It went through Senate Insurance. It went through Senate Privacy. It passed both committees, bipartisan, and now it's in appropriations. And then once it gets out of appropriations, fingers crossed, it'll go onto the floor, and then the Senate will vote on it, and then it'll go over to the Assembly.
How do you respond to privacy advocates who say that this bill would force drivers to choose between their privacy and being able to afford a mandatory product because car insurance is
not mandatory? This is an opt-in product. This product has been around for 26 years, and in all 49 states, it's opt-in only. We're not trying to make this a permanent or a forced on our consumer product. It's an opt-in like any other app that you would use, and other insurers will not pay for this. They won't pay for this. This will only bring your insurance down if your driving behavior is corrected and is deemed well.
I'm glad you were able to make that point. It's an important one. Anything else you'd like to add, Assemblymember?
Well, I just thought what a great idea to incentivize people to slow down. We have too many people dying on our streets. We need to slow people down. Our cars drive way too fast, and we need to save lives. And this is a way that I think that we can do that. And also tackle the affordability issue by lowering people's insurance. And so I welcome telematics. I keep my fingers crossed that it passes and that we can make our streets safer in California.
Okay, very good.
Marla.
Yeah, thank you. We'll continue to follow along and get an update as soon as there is one. Assemblymember Tina McKinnor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're going to take a 2-minute break here on the Fox Local Stream, and we'll be right back.